Manchester United, of course, losing 2-0 against Spurs. Everyone pretty much agrees they should have had a penalty in the first half. This is what Bruno Fernandes said. It's a clear penalty. I want to see if John Moss, the manager of the Premier League referees of the governing body, PTOML, also comes to apologise to our dressing room like they say they did to the manager of Wolves. I'll be sitting here and they can come. I don't think they did go and apologise in the end. Well, certainly not in the dressing room.
No, and I listen, I thought it was a penalty, but you could argue, because there was a decision last week in the Liverpool-Chelsea game, Nico Jackson,
right,
the hand was up. So I'm just throwing it out there. You could possibly argue and say there is some consistency. I don't believe that myself. I'm just saying you could argue that.
Right.
The Onana challenge is not arguable last week in the Wolves game. It's just not. I have a problem with Bruno Fernandes. His MO is to come out. His MO is to come out after a stinking performance against Wolves, and he was dreadful, and they were lucky. They were lucky that Wolves are hopeless up front, and they're lucky that the referees were hopeless. To come out after playing the way they did in the second half, and he wants the referee to apologise to their dressing room when he should have been going in there apologising once again for his performance. And the fact that a professional footballer paid vast sums of money like he is can't head a ball from 6 yards. Did the referee make a mistake in the penalty decision? Probably. However, you can't go in a dressing room and go, they're all against us, the referees, they should apologise, when you, Bruno Fernandes, can't even head a ball fairly and squarely from 6 yards with not one Spurs player within 5 yards of you. Quite frankly, Fernandes and Man United at the beginning of the season have been nothing short of an embarrassment.
Shaka?
Let me just say, I think this is a wonderful smoke and mirrors trick by Bruno Fernandes, and I think Craig summed it up wonderfully well. Now, there's a lot to address. First of all, I didn't think the Chelsea-Liverpool handball, I didn't think that was a handball. I have no problem with it not being given. I thought the Romero one absolutely was. I think it had a different feel to it from the Onana foul in the Wolves game because, well, couple of things. Wolves dominated the 90 minutes. That didn't really have anything to do with it. But then the decision came at the very end of the game. So it felt like a greater injustice to Wolves because there was, a minute or two of injury time left, and you just feel they would have gotten a point. I think the difference here with the Romero handball, and again, I thought it was a handball, is that it comes much earlier, 23rd minute, I think it was. And yes, it was still 0-0. And yes, Manchester United were certainly dominating in the first 45. And had that been given, we very well could be having a very different discussion. But it doesn't feel as damaging as the blown call for Man United Wolves. I think the other aspect to this is, while I'm sure everybody saw former Manchester United player Roy Keane's summation of who Manchester United are, in him saying his words that they're the new Spurs. Now all of a sudden, I think what is brilliant in Bruno Fernandes' kind of response is that we're talking about this. He's trying to get everybody to talk about the blown call. We're not talking about how god-awful Manchester United were. We're not talking about a header as bad as I've ever seen at this level of the game. We're not talking about whether Manchester United are indeed the new Spurs. We're talking about a referee coming in to a dressing room to apologise. And in all honesty, it's not surprising, but let's not be distracted by that factor.
Frank?
Well, first, I want to say that I'm with the guys, in terms of the two penalties. No penalties against Chelsea and a penalty for Manchester United, for sure. And after, I didn't see the action, but I think maybe Bruno Fernandes was thinking that he was defending and he tried to put the ball in the corner kick. It's why maybe it was so stupid. But really, I'm not surprised with that. I mean, I'm not sure that guy apologized to the referee that he hit last year. I don't know if he did or not, but that guy is all the time complaining about all decision, and so he's a crier against the refs, and he shouts to his teammates every time they miss a pass, they miss a chance. He gives the ball in the space, they're not there. So he's always complaining about teammates, referees, opponents, everything. He should just once be quiet. He's a fantastic player. He can show to the world that he's the best player, not maybe on scoring goals, but he's a good passer. He's a good player who can give assists. But please, just be quiet for once. That would be good for the football.
I suppose Eric Ten Hag did not think it was a penalty. Bear in mind, Eric Ten Hag really struggles with the laws of the game, as was apparent after last Monday night when he came out and said, that Anana challenge was absolutely perfect. There was nothing to see here. So I'm presuming as a manager who struggles with the laws of the game, it seems, had no problem with that penalty being given. Look, I am not the only reason we sort of packaged those two handballs together was to, if you were some sort of QC and you wanted to be some sort of argument and you say, well, there's a different directive to these officials for the handballs. We're going to sit here and scratch our heads every year for the next, I don't know how many years that we have done for the past few years with the handball law. Because so often we say, that's a penalty, and then it's not given, or that's not a penalty, and it's given.
Craig, I'm sorry, but it's clear for the Romero, it's been said, when you make, because your arms on your hand, you make your body bigger, it's a penalty. Which is not the case for Nicolas Jackson, because we can see that he puts his arm back to his body to avoid it. And the thing is, Romero does like that. So
Jackson's hand was not over his body. Jackson's hand was to the side here.
But you can see the movement, Craig. You can see the movement that he tries to put it back to his body.
Well, no, look, anyway, I'm only trying to draw some sort of comparison as to why the penalty would be subjective and the Anana challenge would not be. Anyway, the point here is Bruno Fernandes and his teammates. The problem's not the refereeing. The refereeing's a problem for every team almost. The problem here is Manchester United have not fulfilled the big need to replenish the positions that they most need. Mm-hmm. Now, I know they've bought a striker and he's not available, but he's a youngster and he's raw and he's certainly not the finished article. He may go on to have a great season, the new signing. I don't know. But they have many other problems. They have problems in the wide positions as well. They have problems with where they're going to put Marcus Rashford. And Eric Ten Hag can talk Mason Mount up all he wants, but he took him off again. And he's not a natural midfielder. And he can come out here and he can chirp away, the United manager, about how everything's rosy in the garden. But it's not. And they're under pressure. And they don't look good defensively. And they are struggling in the front line. And they are looking for excuses. And it did take them an officiating howler to get some points in the first game of the season. So they need to start looking in very, very, very quickly, Man United that is, before they start looking out.
Thank you very much for watching ESPN FC on YouTube. For more highlights, analysis and exclusive content, be sure to subscribe.